In Scratch Club Week 2, we created a picnic game. I will show it to you now. If I click the green flag, I'm using my left, right, up, and down arrow keys to move a bug around the screen. Notice food appears at random locations. When I get it, I hear a little eating noise. If I don't get it, it blinks. And at random times throughout the game, my bug gets faster. And it plays a song. And when I get to 6, I win the game. Oops, I'm still at 5. Oh, by the way, if I miss a food, I lose a point. So my score, if you can see up here, was a 4. Now it's a 3. Banana. There we go. And now I won the game. So that's the game that we created. This is actually a copy of the game with all of the challenges completed. What we did was we gave the students a list of things that they should accomplish, and then if they were finished or they wanted to challenge themselves, they could make the game a little more difficult. So making the food blink before it disappears, adding a score, changing the speed, making the game end after you get a certain score. Those were some of the challenges. They're all available on the Scratch Club page on the lz95.org website, as well as links to this finished game and also links to a more basic game without the challenges, just so you can see the code and so you know how it was written. So let's get started writing this game. The first thing we went over were 2 different ways to make our a sprite, any sprite. I'm going to make it a bug. Follow either our mouse or respond to keyboard events. Meaning if in this case, we did our up, down, left, and right arrow keys. There's the bug. Choose OK. I'm going to make him a little smaller because he's a little large. And then I'm going to add a script to him. Let's start with the mouse movements. I'll run this script when the green flag is clicked forever, because my whole game I want this bug to follow my mouse. I'll make him point towards my mouse pointer and move 10 steps. So when I click on this, move my mouse around, he follows. Some of the kids had a little bit of an issue with this movement in that if you stop, he has a little jiggle. The other issue would be when you go to code over here, he feels like you're going to lose him off the screen. So if you find that unsettling, one suggestion would be to make him move more slowly. If he moves more slowly, there's more of an opportunity for you to race and get up to that stop button. It makes kids a little more comfortable. The other option would be to do it a different way, and that would be following keyboard events. So in this case, I'm going to say when the space key is pressed, and then I'm going to change it to up arrow. I will make my my sprite point up, and I'll make him move 10 steps. So now when I use my up arrow key, my bug is moving up. I'm going to right click and duplicate this 4 times, 1 for each direction, and then I'll change up to down, and then right, left, and then I need to make sure that I make this match so that he's going to point in the right direction when I hit that key. I'll make him point down, right, and left. So now when I press the right key, he'll point in the right direction, and if I did it correctly, when I go down, that's right, left, up, and right. It's perfect. So that gets my bug code really kind of complete. The next step would be to create the food. So I'm going to add a new sprite. I'll pick the apple. Again, I'll make it a little smaller because there's no way that bug can eat that big apple. And the script I'm going to add is going to make it appear at random locations on the screen. The way that you pick a random location on the screen, first I'm going to show the grid so we can see the X and Y coordinates and the limits of our screen. To do that, I'm going to click on the stage, click on backdrops, click here to add a backdrop from the library, scroll all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to pick XY grid. So I always tell the students to remember that the X direction when you're trying to place anything is left and right, and the Y direction is up and down. The way to remember that is X looks like it has two legs, so it's like a man and it has to stay on the ground. Y looks like it has two wings and it goes up and down. So if you're talking about moving in the X direction, you're moving left and right. If you're moving in the Y direction, you're moving up and down. The limits of the scratch screen are written here. So the leftmost position you can go is negative 240. The rightmost is positive 240. And likewise with Y, it's 180 and negative 180. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a random number generator in Scratch that will pick a location for us, and we're going to give it the bounds. I'm not going to make our bounds exactly the edge of the screen because you don't want to get in a position where the apple is kind of halfway off the screen because that feels weird. So we want our bug to be successful in getting its food. So I'm going to click on scripts and let's get that started. This food will appear the entire time from the time the green flag is clicked to the time I stop the game, so it's going to run forever. I'm going to make it hide. I'm going to make it wait 1 second just to give it the game a little, like a pause. I'm going to move it, and this is where we set that X and Y location. I'm going to give us a little more room here to see. Under operators, this is the thing we want. This is going to pick a random number. A random number is like a surprise. It's like saying, give me a number between, let's say, negative 200 and 200 for X, left and right, and then for Y, I'm going to make it negative 140 to 140. So it's going to surprise me with a number within these bounds and pick a location for my food. After it's picked the location, I'm going to have it show itself, and then we'll have it wait for a couple seconds so I can try and get it. And if it turns out I'm having trouble getting it in 2 seconds, I'm going to make that 3 seconds. But let's try it. So I'm going to hit the green flag just to watch it moving. So there we go. We've got an apple. It's moving around. Looks pretty good. The other thing the kids did was they added other costumes so that every time it appears, it's not the same old food, it's something different. So I'm going to pick something else from the library. I'll pick bananas. Let's pick one more. I'll go to things. Cake. Okay, so now I've got three choices. In order to pick those costumes, I need to write that into my code, and I'll do that with the next costume command. So I'm going to say, before you show, pick the next costume. It'll just keep iterating between these three. So let's see what that looks like. I click the green flag. I get an apple. I get bananas. And I get a cake. So good, that's working. The next thing, and we told the kids, if you got this much working, to consider this a total success. If you have time, see if you can handle the collision between the bug and the food. So what we want to happen is we want that food to hide or a score to go up, make a pop sound, something to let that player know that their bug got the food. So to do that, I'm going to add another script. I'm going to add it to the food because I want the food to hide when it gets eaten, and I can't do that from the bug. So I'm going to pick events, pick the green flag. I'm going to run it forever, the whole time my game runs. And I'm going to say if sensing, if I am touching the bug, the beetle, sorry, then what am I going to do? And the kids really got to decide what they wanted to do. I would want to, do we have a sound? I have a pop sound. So I'll make him play sound pop and make him hide just for now. Let's do that. So I'm moving my bug, see if I can, oh, I missed it. Oh, and then I got one without even trying. There we go. So that right there, that's a successful game. That's fun to play. The the next step that I would do would be to add a score. Whenever you want to hold a number or hold anything, a string, a name, something, you're going to think about putting that in a variable. And a variable, I think of it like it's a bucket. It's a bucket that I put something in, and then when anybody else, any other script or the stage wants to get a hold of that value, they just look in the bucket. And we don't have to talk to each other. We can just go and see what's in the bucket. So I'm going to make a bucket for my score. I'll call it score. I'll make it for all sprites. In general, that's the choice that I choose. Move it way up in the corner here. That gets displayed, by the way, by this little checkbox. If you want the score gone for some reason or any other variable you're using, that's the way to get rid of it. But it's great to have it there because your player can know what their score is. So to start the game, I'm going to want to always set my score to 0 because actually if I keep playing the game and stopping and playing, it will not reset it to 0 unless I tell it to. So let's put that here. And then I'm going to add some code in here to say if we touch the beetle, yay, let's change the score by 1. I'm going to put it right after the hide, and the reason is if for some reason my bug kind of hovers over my food, some of the kids got a real kick out of this, the score might go up twice. So I want to hide it right away so it doesn't have an opportunity to still be touching the beetle, hit the beetle twice, and give me 2 points. So let's see how that works. See if I can get that cake. Got it, and my score is 1. Now it's 2. There we go. Super. Oh, I got one without even trying. So that's essentially the game. The additional challenges are all on the Scratch Club page on lz95.org, as well as links to all the challenges, which include making the score go down if you miss a food, making the food blink before it disappears. So if you're interested in doing those assignments, all that code is on the website, and the list of challenges are also listed there as well. Or come up with your own. There are so many things that you can do with a game like this. Actually, before I sign off, let's get rid of this XY grid, and I'll show you just briefly how I did the backdrop, although the kids really came up with great, very interesting backdrops, but I'll show you what I did. I picked a line. I didn't pick red. I made it kind of more like a pink, so it gives you the illusion that it's red, but it falls to the background. It doesn't kind of overpower you, but red is fine too. I made my line a little thicker. How about that? Oh, let's make it thicker. We'll do it faster. And then I just drew lines. If you hold your... Actually, I'm going to make that even thicker. There we go. So there you go. You can pick whatever color you like. I'm actually also, I should mention, I'm holding down my Shift key, which keeps my lines very straight. So there you go, simple picnic blanket. I'm sure you could do better than that, but that's how I did it. And I hope you enjoy the game. I hope you try all the challenges and look at the code and get some ideas. Next week we will be covering rotation of images. We'll learn about how many degrees there are in a circle and how many degrees of rotation there are for a sprite, so that when we rotate our sprites we know which direction they're moving. So hope to see you next week.